Hey, good morning and welcome back to the podcast, the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. How are you today? It's Friday, and it's the end of AD&D week here on the channel. I may extend it further and continue talking about AD&D things because people seem to be really enjoying it as far as Spotify downloads, which I was surprised at. And I'm getting some good comments on YouTube as well because the podcast goes there via the RSS feed and on Apple and things like that. So hopefully you're enjoying these things. I know I'm enjoying doing them because AD&D is probably my top 2 go D&D game for all time speak because it's the best. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is another email, is my email address. You can contact me at theevildm.com is my website where you can catch up with everything I'm doing, actual plays, write-ups, and podcasts that I do. Hopefully you'll head over there and subscribe to the newsletter. I also feed it over to Medium now. Some people wanted it on Medium so they could subscribe there. Fine, it's there as well. You just go to Medium, and I think it's at the Evil DM there for Medium. So on to the show. So today I'm reaching into the mailbag because I keep getting emails about suggestions for this week, and I'm running out of time. So maybe I'll just extend it to next week for a little bit for the podcast itself. Anyway, Jay Diggs, or Jay, writes in and asks me about a spell that he wanted me to talk about. He said it's an awesome spell that's underutilized, and most people don't even use it because they don't even realize it's there because they just disregard it because of the name. All right, what is it, Jay? So Jay continues to say the item is in the Unearthed Arcana book on page 55. It is a 3rd level spell, and it is called Item. He said there are some fun ways to use it, and I think the audience would love to hear about it. Well, thanks, Jay. I appreciate the suggestion, and you're right. This is a spell that is, I think, blown by most people because of the name. And if you turn to page 55 and look at it, halfway down the page, it's a 3rd level spell that, looking at it, I'm just like, there's just so many possibilities for this spell. And yeah, you got to be about 7th level, 6th level to use this spell, I believe, around there. So maybe that's why people don't pick up on it, because at that point they're like, oh, we're going to use this or that because we're offense and we can only be the most powerful thing in the world. We can't role play. Item is a 3rd level spell, touch, 6 turns per level, but it's quadrupled if used on non-living material. The area of effect is 2 cubic feet per level of caster, so that's huge. Components are verbal, semantic, and materials. Casting time is 3 segments, which is not a big deal. Saving throw is special. So, by means of this spell, the magic user is able to touch any normal, non-magical item of size proportion to the allowable area of effect and cause it to shrink to 1/12 of its normal size. Optionally, the caster can also change its now shrunken composition to a cloth-like one. Only living things are entitled to a saving throw versus spell, but each as it saves at +4. Objects and creatures can be transformed to cloth. Creatures transformed to cloth make a saving throw that normally, as if not altered, against subsequent attacks. So, objects changed by an item spell can be returned to normal composition and size merely by tossing them onto the solid surface or by word of command from the original spell caster. It is possible to affect fire and fuel with the spell. Now, it's a lot to really unpack if you think about it. And breaking it down, you could see that this would be perfect for a magic user to have in his arsenal. For one, you could sneak into places and use this spell to remove doors, remove large magical items or I shouldn't say non-magical, but large valuable items like a giant treasure chest. It's heavy. Well, guess what? Now it's in, 1/12 of its size. It's a little cloth-like object that you can roll up and put in your backpack, and look at that. It's only maybe like a pound or so, depending on how large it is. I've seen players who could use this spell really well, and I'm thinking of a couple offhand, but I won't say their names because they may be listening, but they would probably take full advantage of this spell and love every minute of it. Oh, man. Now, living creatures, this is actually pretty good, but the +4 saving throws what balances it out, so it makes it a little bit more fair for the creatures. Because otherwise, a magic user is going to be just put like item 5,000 times to use a day. So you do it on a creature. Say you got like a large ogre or a troll or maybe a decent sized dragon, for example. As long as it fits in with your 2 cubic feet per level of caster. So 2 cubic feet equals about 12 square feet, which equals about 3.464 feet, so 3.5 feet total area for that per level of the caster. So essentially, if you are a 7th level character, that'd be what? 2 cubic feet? I don't know. 20 something feet? I don't know. I don't feel like doing math again, but you get the idea. You can figure out the math yourself. So that's a quite a big area that you could take and shrink into something. Monsters, that would be interesting because you cast it on object. Now you have to touch them. So in a lot of games that I played in, which kind of I didn't like, was the DM made us do a touch attack before we can even do the spell. The good thing about it is if we didn't get the touch attack, we didn't actually cast off the spell. I feel in my games when it comes to the spell, the saving throw is considered the attack itself. You're getting a +4 to that. It's just extra rolling. I didn't care about that. So, but anyway, you take a large creature and make him into a small cloth-like substance or a small creature. I would turn him into a cloth, personally. And it doesn't say he dies. He just becomes a cloth. So, and it also doesn't say exactly what happens to it once it becomes a cloth, if it dies or not. I would think if it becomes a cloth, because you could turn it small with the spell, or you could turn it into cloth. Now, if you're turning a living, breathing creature into cloth on the ground, that's, I don't know, see, it only lasts 6 turns, so 60 minutes, about an hour? Oh, per level, excuse me. And it goes to 1/12 its size. It says that it would still allow have attacks on it. So you would have to make a saving throw every time you attacked it and did damage to it. Now, if it's I guess, 4-inch cloth on the ground and everybody's just stabbing it with their swords, it would get a saving throw to see, a normal saving throw, not a +4 at this point, to see if it reverts back out. Me personally, as a DM, would rule that the creature more than likely would be dead if it's a cloth. But what makes me think that it still would be alive is the simple fact that the last thing is it's possible to affect fire and fuel with this spell. Now, the fire part makes me wonder if you have a giant fire and you're in an area that you're having a hard time making fires, maybe lack of resources, it's cold out, it's raining, whatever, you finally make that fire, you're leaving in the morning, and you still have that fire going, you can tap on a part of the fire that isn't obviously on fire and turn it into a cloth-like substance. Drop it on the ground later on before the spell runs out, boom, you have a fire again. So that instance tells me it's not dead because obviously fire needs oxygen to continue. And if you're turning something into cloth, they're still living and breathing, but they're just in a suspended state. So I guess the ruling on this would be they would still be alive, so you might as well just attack it before the time comes. Or turn the cloth of the ogre or the troll or whatever giant creature into cloth and go to a really, really big cliff with I don't know, 100+ feet or something, and boof, just drop them off. And there solves your problem because with all that fall damage multiplying every turn, or every 10 feet or so, multiplying and getting higher and higher and higher, it's dead. And it might be an easy way to do it. But that +4, With the saving throw against the monster, obviously they're going to probably pass more times than normal. So if you're that level of using the spell, you probably should look into getting things that reduce saving throw bonuses for other targets, which is possible. A DM could definitely give those out. A good DM would probably give out at least something. Maybe not much, 1 or 2 as you grow up in level, things like that. But tell me what you think about this spell, because I found it really interesting since Jay emailed me this. And I was looking at it last night, and I was like, I never noticed this spell in Unearthed Arcana. Unearthed Arcana is a book I've used plenty of times, but not as a magic user. So that's probably why I've never noticed it. Because if I would have noticed this, I would be using this nonstop. Stealing things with it, taking creatures and making them into small things that just drop off cliffs or drop off of large distance with spikes underneath it or something. I love this spell. Tell me what you think in the comments below about this spell, and I want to know how you handle it in your game based on the wording. Obviously, a lot of stuff in AD&D is up to DM interpretation, which I love, because one, it gives you a chance to think as a DM and make decisions as you go along. Sure, you may get a couple arguments from players here or there, but as long as you have a mature group that's not, full of children, you should be able to just talk it out easily and make a decision. And they should have to live with it because you're the DM. So, again, tell me what you think. I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless. And don't forget, channel. Yes, our members' fireside chat is tonight. If you want to join the channel for 99 cents a month on YouTube, you can support us and then join the members only chat. Chat gives you a chance to chat with us directly. We got a whole bunch of people in there now, and everybody's enjoying the chat. They give us feedback. They talk about things they want to see in the future. You might like that too. So go ahead and click that join button. That'll help out the channel. Good night, everybody.